Zynoo Y75 Pro. This keyboard was sent to me for review by Zynoo as part of a Twitter promo. They had a Twitter post a few weeks ago asking for people to review their product. I applied. Surprisingly, I got accepted, and here I am reviewing the keyboard. Obviously, no production quality. Instead, I am more so here to provide information from the perspective of somebody who has spent way too much time researching keyboards and way too much money buying keyboards. First things first, this keyboard will be released in early December globally. However, this is a re-release of a product that debuted in China in April earlier this year. What this means is that this keyboard is not going to have the technical specifications that's going to rival the current top tier products. Hall effect keyboards are an emergent technology that is still being iterated on very rapidly, and as such, the top tier keyboards released at the beginning of the year just simply cannot compete with the products released at the end, at least from a technical standpoint. Now that wouldn't be a big deal, except this keyboard is also going to be priced as a premium product. In China, it was released in the price range in the high $200 range. I'm expecting the global release to be in the high 100s to maybe low $200 range. At that price, I'll just be honest, it's a pretty tough sell. With that being said though, this product does deliver an extremely premium experience. From the unboxing experience, to the accessories included, to the build quality, it's all top tier from a premium or luxury standpoint. Just take a look at the keyboard. I'm not a big fan of the white or brown color that they sent to me, but I do think the keyboard looks quite clean. It has RGB lighting on the sides of the keyboard, along with the top of the keyboard, and for some reason, it's even on the bottom of the keyboard. It also has a volume knob and a screen, if you care about that, and it has quite a unique layout on the right side of the keyboard that I do quite like. I should mention though that this keyboard does have kind of a unique right shift key along with a slightly longer than normal spacebar. That is something to keep in mind if you're looking at aftermarket keycaps. This keyboard comes with Gateron Jade Pros, and I personally think that they feel and sound great. Sound test, of course, will be at the end of the video. And finally, I should mention that this keyboard is very easy to disassemble. All you have to do is lift and press down on press down and then lift on the sides here, and you can disassemble it without any screws or anything like that. That will allow you to manually adjust the hand feel of the keyboard. However, that is not going to be within the scope of this review. Okay, now let's move on to performance. As I alluded to in the beginning of the video, the performance of this keyboard is going to be on par with the top tier keyboards released towards the beginning of the year. This means 0.01 actuation, 0.01 RT, 32K scan rate, 8K polling. On the Laobaozi benchmark, this keyboard scored 666 points with a press latency of 0.16 milliseconds and a release latency of 0.19 milliseconds. So I want to be very clear when I say this. Although it's slightly outdated from the perspective of an enthusiast that is chasing the bleeding edge, by no means is the performance of this keyboard bad. It's still going to outperform nearly all of the mainstream boards. This means the Booting 60, the Booting 80, the original Razer Huntsman V3, along with most of the boards you can find from Amazon, from the likes of Keychron, EpoMaker, Drunk Deer, and so on. For 99.9% of people, the performance of this keyboard is going to be more than adequate. Anecdotally, I've been using this keyboard every day for about a week now, and I have not noticed any issues relating to performance or latency. And this is coming from somebody who daily drives a VGN Flash Extreme, which is one of the best performing boards on the market. Now onto the software. The Y75 does have a web-based driver. It is not running SparkLink, it's not running Gale, it's not running Rongyuan. I'm not exactly sure what solution this keyboard is using. They might have their own self-developed solution. It's the first time I'm seeing it, that's for sure. It does have a couple of quirks. First of all, if you look to the left here, you can notice that there is no DKS. That's a pretty standard feature that's featured in most keyboards at this time, but not in this board. Also, no macros, and there is no way for you to try and customize the screen. So, at least that's what I thought. Turns out, This keyboard actually has a downloadable driver, and if you want to set up macros or if you want to change the screen, you do need to use the downloadable driver. Unfortunately, DKS still not available even in the downloadable driver. Alright, other than that, I think everything else works pretty much as expected. The SOCD function does have a delay timer, which is nice to have. The end function is very similar to the end function in most Hall Effect keyboards, and that is to say it is not actually going to help you counter strafe. Despite what the tip section on the right here might say, it doesn't actually work. Everything else seems to work about as expected. I think the last thing to note is that this keyboard has one dedicated profile switching key, and you are unable to set a profile to a specific key, and you are unable to remap the key that is set to change the profile. Overall, I would say that the software is fine but not exceptional. I would put it pretty much on par with most SparkLink based solutions. Alright, short conclusion. The ethos of this keyboard isn't really a match for me. I am much more into, top of the line, chasing the bleeding edge performance rather than, a premium build quality. As a result, at the expected price point of around $200, this will not be my go-to recommendation. However, I do know that there is a market for these type of products. Every single time I see people ask, what Hall Effect keyboard should I get? What magnetic keyboard should I get? I always see people recommending the Hex 80 or the Slice 75. I can confidently say that I think the Y75 Pro is much better than the Slice 75. And although I haven't personally tried the Hex 80, I imagine these two keyboards will be very similar. Okay, now for the sound test.